is to the. I think I have any. Do you have any? Did everyone get a chance to look at the minutes of January 27th select board meeting?
Yes,
In our
and
folder?
someone fixed the terms there. Thank you, whoever did that.
Yes.
Would probably have been Carly.
I don't think so.
Oh.
Hmm.
Huh. Mystery.
Well, okay.
But they're fixed.
They're fixed.
I have a any discussion or changes or a motion to approve
Move
those
to
minutes?
approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Here's the bill.
Oh, here's Dave Delcourt. And Jordan thought he might zoom in, but
Yeah.
he said it
I
was,
wasn't counting on it.
he
though.
said it was 50-50. He had a busy day. Board orders, which again, were in the folder for everyone to
Yes, I
review.
did add one today for a single invoice for Tamara Keen, who did our town report design, graphic design, $750. It's within the budget. She's an independent contractor, so we just wanted to get her paid as soon as we got her invoice, but that's an addition.
Okay.
Any other-
Shall I move we approve all of the
Sure.
warrants, including the one that Kari just added to the folder?
I will second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Okay. The AOT certification of compliance for road and bridge standards.
So this is an annual requirement. It's something they, want you to do before they start awarding grant money for the year.
Mhm.
And so the way I laid it out is there's three pieces to this that the board understands and we comply with the town's road standards. So, there's a lot to those standards and I'm sure we'll talk about them again, but yeah, there's Jeff. But I would say that that's a reasonable interpretation that we comply with those, that our standards meet or exceed the state standards, that's true. And we actually adjusted them last year, because they were lacking in a specific way. And then we have an updated inventory of roads, bridges and culverts, including repair costs. I think we comply with that. The state actually maintains a bridge and culvert inventory. We know our roads. We know the cost that we need to know for immediate repairs.
All right, I move that we sign it, or what, who do we authorize to sign it? Kari?
All of you are gonna sign it.
Okay, then I move that we sign
There a second?
I'm going to abstain from signing it.
I just want to see it.
Do you want to say anything further?
I just wasn't on the board when it was reapproved in May.
it.
Okay.
When we approved the change in the standards, you mean?
Well, it was reapproved in May.
The standards were
Yeah.
updated in May.
The standards were approved, but we are certifying as of today. Or whenever we did the review, which Kari did recently, right? Yeah, this is an annual certificate.
Yeah,
So it's okay that we weren't here when the ordinance was updated.
I understand that.
Okay,
yeah.
so I'm seconding.
Okay. All those in favor of signing the certification of compliance for road and bridge standards? Aye. Opposed? And Bill abstains. Okay.
Great.
Approved creation of Moscow Woods Bridge Fund.
Right, so this would be in a separate accounting fund to keep the monies that we're going to use ultimately to pay for replacement of the bridge, to keep that separate. So I consulted our accountant about this because we remember, you recently approved the 30% design for the replacement so that we can apply for the hazard mitigation grant. And while that invoice is only going to total 14,000 or something, we're hoping that it's part of a 2 million plus dollar grant. So he thought at that level, it kind of makes sense to keep this separate. If we don't get the hazard mitigation grant, at some point, we're gonna get some grant and we're gonna get some support for this. Since it's such a large project.
Question. This is not a reserve fund, is that right?
It's not a
It's
reserve
just a
fund.
separate line item
It's
essentially?
a separate fund just to keep the money separate so that we can track. It's an accountability measure, really, so
So
we
why do you
track.
need our approval for that? As treasurer, can you just do it?
Rick Brigham thought it's best practice for the select board to approve the creation of a separate fund.
Okay.
He said you could do it now or you could do it later when we're actually getting grant monies, but might as well do it now.
Is it similar to the Curtis Pond?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
No problem with that.
That's a good analogy.
We're not appropriating anything into it other than.
No, we're not.
We're
No,
just
in fact, we're
creating
gonna,
an account.
next meeting, I will bring you an invoice and we'll be negative in that. fund. But only a small amount. Drop in the bucket, really.
Anyone want to make a motion to create the Moscow Woods Bridge Fund?
I will, so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, aye. Thank you. Now we are a few minutes early on public comment, but do we have Barbara here? And Jeff here, who may have a comment.
Okay, first, because Rose is not here tonight, I want to thank Tegan for volunteering to take minutes tonight. Thank you,
Thank you,
Tegan.
Thank you.
And I have a gift for you all. May I approach the bench? So we have our new town roadmap.
Oh,
It's
exciting.
awesome. If you see a mistake, don't tell me today. Okay, so here is a color copy for each of you. Now, what I've learned in this process, and on the back side are the 4 villages that get very crowded on here because there's too many things. And so we did an inset. I want to thank Ann Winchester and Bill Davis
Thank
for
you.
getting us started with this by going through the old map and making corrections. This really was a team effort with a lot of people contributing information. Do you want to-
I still have the ones you.
Okay, so what I learned through this process is that, you'll see all the points of interest on here. They're little tiny numbers and they're in green. Because, blue was hard for me to see because of all their other blue. But, people who have color blindness can't see the blue.
Oh.
So if anybody is colorblind and would like a copy, no, they can't see the green. They can't see the green, they can see the blue. So if anybody needs a blue copy, let me know, because I've got it here for you. So tomorrow is the actual launch of this. I'm launching it with our select board first, just for you. Jamie, here are copies for Green Up Day.
Thank you.
So we'll launch this tomorrow. So what we're gonna do is tell people that we have it. We'll post it at Front Porch Forum. It's in the town report and so forth. Anybody who would like black and white copies, we're gonna make them available, a maximum of 5 for one person who asks. Just black and white copies will be free. We're going to charge $2 for each color copy. And we're gonna actually offer them to all 3 stores for only $1 in color, and then the stores can sell them for whatever you want to sell them for, but we're gonna sell them for $2 each. And so we will launch that tomorrow, now that you guys all have your first initial copies. So this was a big project and we're excited that it's done.
Congratulations.
Yes,
Thank you so much to Sarah for all of
yeah,
Good. Beautiful.
this is just wonderful.
And of course, we could not have done this without Sarah. So Sarah Black was wonderful to work with.
Great. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you, Barbara. I know you put a lot of time into this.
Yeah,
so
it was a big project, but it was really fun.
Yeah.
Points of interest.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful.
Forest, now.
Look how many performance spaces we have.
Right?
Isn't that amazing?
Our
How many
villages are
performance and
actually
event
impressive.
spaces we have in Calais.
Wonderful. Any other public comment?
Thank you, Barbara.
Yep.
You're welcome.
And let's move into the status of annual appointments.
So, I put an updated report in your select board folder, and I actually updated it. I first put it in on Friday, but then I updated the board one today because we had another nomination come in. And so, I mean, it's basically the same thing that you've looked at a couple of times, just updated. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, did you say you updated it to show who was applying for, or asking to be written in for my seat?
I'm sorry, would you say that again?
That you said that there was a person, another person has come in who's running for select board.
No, DRB. Did I hope I didn't say select board, it should be
I think
DRB.
you said DRB.
I said DRB.
Okay, thank
And,
you.
yeah, because we're talking about appointments.
Okay,
So, yes, another nominee came in today for the DRB.
I
It's
see.
on the updated one that's in your folder.
Mhm.
And, I'm sure you all know Jeff Hewitt, who is here tonight because he has nominated himself to be the select board recording secretary. So he is here to see if he
Oh.
can hear everything. He wants to check the sound and the acoustics in the building to make sure that it works for him.
And I have to tell you, it doesn't. I'm really sorry.
Oh.
It's a pleasure to see you. I withdraw myself nomination.
I've got hearing aids in and I find it really hard to hear and understand in this building. Yeah.
Yeah,
I do want to
Echoey.
say, we were talking about that at planning commission last Tuesday. And John said he was gonna work on hanging some more things in the back and on this wall here. And he was hoping that would help.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Yeah. I'm
Take care.
sorry.
thanks, Jeff.
Does anybody have any other questions on the two reports I submitted, the annual appointments for the board committees and commissions?
I think so.
A lot of vacancies.
We're whittling them down.
We are.
Not as
And,
much as we had.
and Christie, because you keep asking about an emergency management director, there's an emergency management committee meeting tomorrow night. Our hopeful nominee will be attending that meeting to check in with them and see how it goes.
Great, great. Okay.
Wonderful. And we sort of did annual appointments and board and committee at the same time. Is there anything, nothing else to add for that, right? Okay,
You've got my latest update, so if anybody
Yep.
has questions.
great. And then appointing David Healy as our CV fiber alternate. He's
He's on board.
on
Barbara's
board.
been the point of contact.
Yeah, so he's ready to do that, and then wants to be reappointed in April, but he wants to be appointed now so he can get going before town meeting.
I move we
That's
appoint
great.
David as an alternate to the CV fiber, whatever.
Is it an alternate that he's going? for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because Jared Thomas is the delegate, I think.
Yeah,
I will second that.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wonderful. A big thank you to David.
Yeah, absolutely, and I just need you to sign that. At your convenience, I'll get it.
Okay,
Had a schedule.
we are way ahead of schedule. Great.
You wanna skip?
Do you want to skip town meeting and go to highway?
Mhm.
Sure.
Yeah, so, over the last couple of meetings, you've approved, I think, approximately $170,000 in payments from the highway, equipment fund. And part of that discussion was talk about replenishing the fund. So I'm bringing a proposal to you for that, and I thought the best way to do that would be sort of talk about where we are in terms of cash and the budget. And so the way I laid it out is including these warrants, we have about 1.2 million in the bank in our primary checking account. We have budgeted, we have $516,000 remaining in expenses for this fiscal year. I neglected to mention, but I'm doing it now. That doesn't include $219,000 for the balance of our education tax collection that we have to pay out. That happens in April, once the state figures out what the final tally is. And then we have a couple $100,000, I think we can reasonably expect in more additional income. Delinquent taxes, that's fairly certain, you know, give or take $80,000 there. And then FEMA reimbursements. We've been collecting quite a bit recently, so I'm hoping that the state will come through with their portion up for the 23, and then the 24 is a relatively small amount. But, you know, all told, we will be, I think we'll end the year, we're somewhere between $400,000 and $500,000 in general fund balance. So,
I have a question about the federal situation,
yeah,
and whether money that we have anticipated coming would be held up or not come through.
I've
Yeah.
gotten a couple questions about that.
yeah, so the good news is that we have received the entire
Okay.
amount for 2023, which was 85%. You know, Biden had adjusted that up from the customary 75.
Yeah.
So we're, the only monies that we're waiting for from the state are from the state for 2023. It's an additional 10% or so.
Okay.
And then we haven't received anything. We haven't done our all our reporting for 2024 yet, but it's a fairly small amount too.
Small amount. And any other federal stuff? You're not concerned then about the federal situation with respect to?
Only as concerned as everybody else.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know. But we're not waiting on any federal grants for, you know, there's nothing direct. It's all.
And most of the sort of annual road related ones, that's all state typically. Right?
Yeah, I mean, that money flows from the federal
Right.
government, and it's good to be
Yeah, the
aware
state-
that the governor's budget proposal was pretty significant reductions in highway funding.
Yeah. I saw that.
So we'll see how that all plays out, but. And, you know, so the logic, and I shared these numbers with you before, but the logic of the recommendation is to take the FEMA reimbursements from 23 and 24 that were already appropriated, you know, budgeted and appropriated. So in a sense that they're redundant, those reimbursements are redundant. What would we do with those funds? A logical thing would be to send them to the highway department, since they were the source in a sense. So that amount is $176,054.91.
What was that number?
176,054.91. Yeah, you could do something less than that. I just thought it was interesting that it came so close to what you approved for payments for paying off the mower and purchasing the new connection.
Yeah.
At 169,000. But it could certainly be less than that. The point was to put some money back into the highway equipment fund, because we're down to like $7,000 in there.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that logic makes perfect sense, and I would be in favor of doing the whole 176,000.
54.91. 54 and 91 cents.
Sure.
Yeah, well, yeah, I agree with what Jamie said. It's a logical use of the money. Good place to put it.
We know it'll get used.
Yeah,
That's absolutely right.
yeah, and we're in a cash position to do it, and that's what the fund is for. Anyone
I will
want,
make that motion.
I will second it.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
Thank you. Kari.
Wonderful, thank you, Kari.
Still with us.
Don't know
I
that.
just saw a car pull in.
Oh, good.
We're still.
Been going to adjournment.
Yeah, right. We went right through it.
I'll talk about a couple things.
Okay.
I have a few. First of all, the Maple Corner Store submitted all 5 of its applications for liquor, tobacco, outdoor consumption, all that. You all gave me permission to just approve things that came up, but I thought I would let everyone know that I'm going to approve that this week.
Thank you.
Other news is that Barbara and I have new computers, and I think we've worked out most of the kinks of transferring from one computer to another, and now my Adobe opens without issues, which I'm really excited about.
Great.
And that all came out of the tech reserve fund, because you all approved it.
Great.
All our ballots are in, so now we're starting to mail out ballots, or people can vote in office. So it's the 2 school ballots and then our ballot, are all in. I am working with the elementary school and have contacted Woodbury to see if we can maybe do a mock town meeting. We're gonna maybe do it. We'll see. We're like, I emailed Jared back in December and said, do you wanna do anything? And he emailed me back this weekend and said, yeah. And I was like, kind of a tight turnaround, but we'll see what we can do. And even if it happens, after town meeting, that's the kids. Sure.
Yeah.
That might be the good time to vote on the name for the truck.
Really?
I'm still excited about doing that.
Oh,
So yeah, I'm trying to find out exactly how Woodbury did it and if they have any pointers, because I know the 3, 4, and 5, 6 teachers are excited about doing something like that.
Nice.
So those are the things, and then one ordinance advisory committee issue. Jan Wilson is experiencing some health issues, and I don't know if she's gonna be able to continue to serve in her role. I'm sure she'll let us know when she can't, but I thought I would give you all a heads up. The town report went to the printer, so that should be coming soon. So that's kind of the big bullet points of the town office.
Barbara sent us a thing. Yeah, I like the cover.
Isn't it awesome?
Wonderful.
Yes. Love it.
So may I ask a question? So about if Jan does need to drop off the ordinance advisory committee, she's the only non-select board
Yeah.
community person.
Yeah,
So we might want to open that up again.
that was why I wanted to bring it to your attention.
Yeah. Should we? Is it on the recruitment?
It
It's
is- it
not
is not,
on the
because-
recruitment.
because we did a
were-
pretty
Yeah,
Pervasive recruitment effort back in what was that, not right, wasn't September, it was probably sooner than that, but in the
yeah,
fall.
yeah.
And we kind of did that one as much as we could, but maybe it's been a few months now, so maybe we could reopen it.
Well, right, and we're also on to a different set of
No, we're in.
ordinances, which may be more interesting to a wider
Certain
swath of people, so I don't know if we would want to include a list of the next set of
The
ordinances.
timing would be really good because for the board, committee, and commission recruitment, you guys extended the recruitment for another 2 weeks ago, so that of course ends Friday. So if we're gonna do another round, because we still have 5 weeks until town meeting, no, it's not 5 weeks, it's 4 weeks, I guess,
Yeah.
until town meeting. Then I could add ordinance advisory committee to the recruitment that we're already doing.
Are you suggesting we recruit people just to serve during the period that we're doing roads? Which would be an option to take 1 or 2.
It might not be a short period of time, given the
Right.
scope of the work.
I understand that. That's why I was wondering.
And I don't know that I think it should be specific to that, but just that knowing that that's next on the agenda might entice different people to
Or
join.
scare off others.
Yeah.
Or scare off others.
Do you want me to
Yeah.
add
Let's,
ordinance advisory
I
committee
think so.
to the recruitment?
Yeah, and I had something, I think I heard you just say, Jamie, about next up is
Right.
roads. And
Yeah.
we'll be looking at a variety of different road-related ordinances, policies and guidelines, I think.
I'll
Yeah.
check in with Tegan and Jamie.
Yeah,
And get the verbiage from you.
perfect,
My recruitment has just been listing positions.
Right.
But we could do a separate front porch forum post
Exactly.
just for this if you want, but I'll get the verbiage from them.
okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Kari?
Do you want me to go?
Report, sure.
Sure, yeah, so it was a long week last week for our road crew,
Mm.
including yesterday,
Yeah.
tough day. And then we got another long one coming
Mhm.
with between a snowstorm Wednesday night, Thursday, and then over the weekend. We're also down, or have been down 2 trucks. There was an issue, Steve had a truck with his, issue with his truck, he got it back running today. And then Tyler had an accident yesterday,
Oh, dear.
he was on Mirror Lake Road, he was making a right-hand turn. And he raised the wing on his plow, but not high enough, so that he clipped a ledge on the side of the road. And the front of the wing, and it jammed the back of the wing into his door, passenger door. And just trashed, the door is gonna have to be replaced, the windows shot, and
That's a tough road to deal with.
it shattered the glass, and, he was pretty upset about it, actually. So we filed a claim today, he's gonna go out and get pricing on replacing the door. But that just added to the challenge. Good news though, Ed Rowell was back in the helm, plowing, because Drew, was on vacation for a couple days.
I saw him in the green truck
And he
yesterday.
seemed pretty happy to be
Nice.
plowing, so. I was happy to see him. A planning commission, provided an updated timeline, basically the big change is they're now planning to have their hearing on the plan. And regulations, I guess, on March 18th, so it's a little bit later, but that's in the works. Your timeline's unchanged, you're still planning to do a hearing for both on April 14th and then approve it 2 weeks later. We're on track to submit an application for a grant to replace the Moscow Woods Bridge and dam removal, so that's a partnership with Friends of Winooski, their engineering team, our engineers. We met with the state last week because they kind of wanted to help, they want to understand what is this project, how are things shaping up, and advise us on what could be helpful in making it an attractive application. So right now, the estimate is $2 million for the bridge, 1 million roughly for the dam removal. And the cost benefit actually worked out very nicely. The engineers did that, and that's only factoring in the environmental benefits of removing that dam. Doesn't factor in the safety, the hazard mitigation downstream if the bridge or the dam were to fail. So, so that's all pretty good. So next steps are we need to finish off this application. We submit it by April, then the state has, they're accepting all kinds of applications. They will call out what they think are the best and then submit those to FEMA as the ultimate source. So there's an upstream or a downstream impact of federal funding, and we'll have to see.
And you said FEMA, it's not gonna be the state that helps us pay for it?
The state is sort of the gatekeeper for applications, and then they pass along applications that they think are most worthy to FEMA as the ultimate grantor.
But it's an upgrade to our infrastructure, I didn't understand that.
As it's just this particular type of grant.
Okay, and that's because of the situation with the dam then, I suppose.
Yeah, remember the bridge itself, the state thought it would not qualify, there was not enough benefit, but the dam, that really got them interested. It's, they're very interested in dam, safety, hazard mitigation, and this dam in particular is on their radar. So, and like I said, the big part of this is this cost benefit analysis, which I have to admit, I don't understand how they computed the benefit side of it. I haven't seen that work, but it worked out 3 to 1, and they thought that was great. Anything above 1 to 1 is what they're looking for.
Could you say a little bit about, you were negotiating with the landowners? What is it that we
Oh,
need?
not yet. But when our engineers, DeWolf, provided their estimate of the replacement bridge costs, what they didn't include was the bridge is going to be, basically twice as long, twice as wide as it is currently. So it's going to extend into abutting properties. Certainly for construction, and then to some extent for the actual bridge permanently. So what they made a point to say was, we're not including any cost that might be associated with getting land rights and easement for construction and or, in perpetuity, or the legal costs associated with that. So Toby was on vacation last week. He's gonna actually take on talking to the land owners. Actually, the town is one of them, it turns out. We own some property right on one side of the bridge. But he's gonna talk to the others, and then I'm talking with our attorney, getting an estimate of what these easements might cost us. So we'll include all of that in our application, but then, I don't know that there's gonna be a negotiation. I think that the neighboring landowners are gonna be thrilled with, if this project is approved.
Right.
So they may be happy to, provide an easement. But we'll see.
Right.
And then, I just wanted to follow up. We talked about the capital expenses, specifically repaving last time. So I've now put into our capital budget lines anyway for 4 miles of repaving, 3 County Road, 1 Marshfield Road. And I got a history of when those were last replaced, which was useful. But I've also entered in the big culverts on Haggett Road and Bliss Pond Roads, which we recently got hydraulic studies for. So starting to put in, what are these big infrastructure costs that we're gonna have to plan for? Now I have to get some actual numbers of what that's gonna cost and figure out where that fits. But it's, starting the process of updating our capital plan to include, more things that are coming down the pipe, as we discussed last time.
Right.
Yeah, that was it.
Well, Curtis Pond Dam, is that part of your report?
Yeah, we've got a satisfactory dam.
Yeah. Satisfactory.
Satisfactory.
That's a little disappointing.
I know.
A little more glowing.
The best rating they give.
That's like a B+, right?
It's okay.
Good enough.
Yeah.
So that's good. We still got work to do. Gotta get a survey so that we can create this new parcel and get that
We have
approved.
to get the landowners to, oh no, actually, we have to sign the deeds. The landowners have already signed them.
Right.
So when are we gonna do that?
Well, we have to get the survey, create the official
Boundaries.
boundaries of the parcel. And then there's question whether it happens under current zoning or new zoning, before or after we pass the
Oh,
zoning,
goodness.
which may change a little bit on
Why?
how
What
that
difference
process
does
works.
If it's current zoning, it'll be a non-conforming parcel
And have to go to the DRB.
and there'll be more hoops to jump
Yeah.
through. So we don't know yet because we haven't got the survey yet, so.
Right.
But it may well end up happening in May, and that probably wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, because then it won't be non-conforming, it'll be a more straightforward.
But we can't get insurance until we've actually done it.
Right.
Correct, yeah, so we are,
So, I mean, we're plugging away on it. We're not,
Yeah,
waiting,
okay,
but
and it's not like
it might take
be a
that.
problem between
Right.
now and May, so
that's right.
Yeah.
relative.
It's a satisfactory dam.
That's right, that's right.
So there's that. I don't know if you read in my memo, the next dam issue though is coming, and it's gonna be North Calais.
Yes.
So
I didn't,
I'm gonna have a conversation with our attorney about that on Wednesday, just sort of setting up, how do we have this conversation? And, what's the research that needs to happen to make an informed
What is its
decision?
rating? Is it unsatisfactory?
It's
that what-
poor.
It's poor.
poor.
And it's a significant hazard dam, so it's basically
It is
same. as
So
very
shallow
small.
at the dam though. It is
I
so shallow.
know, I
at
was
the dam.
surprised because the significant hazard has to do with amount of damage downstream if it fails.
Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I would
just
have
Barbara
thought it
used
would
to
be
a
really
problem. You're the only one.
shallow.
who
Oh,
used
so you had 2 feet of water and go on.
Right?
That'd be a lot of water.
It is a lot of water.
Think about it,
I
sorry.
don't see how it would fail.
If the dam goes, you're the one who's gonna suffer.
It's mostly our.
You're first in line.
My house is gonna get washed down to Bill's house.
Call me.
Hey, Gus.
If I could just for a sec report that the planning commission has been working like crazy for the last week. Kathy Hensey's wonderful. She's done a lot of editing and I think you're gonna be much happier.
Wonderful.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's great. Hey, Gus,
How are you tonight?
good. How are you?
So far, so good.
Good. Well, we plowed through our agenda
Yeah,
tonight
we
and
need to
are
talk about town meeting.
on to town meeting.
Well, from what Ari sent me, it looks like we're pretty well organized. We've designated people that I can call on to speak to each article and hopefully to move the article. So I think I'm pretty well set there. Anything you want to tell me that I should think about doing differently than I did last year or prior years?
Well, I have a question. What about a tribute to Eva? Were we thinking of doing something?
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
What
you.
about a tribute to Eva? Were we thinking of
Oh,
doing
Are
something?
you ready to go to that?
Well, I'm wondering if
Yeah,
that would be
okay.
part of the town meeting discussion.
Yeah,
If you want to do that, we can certainly do that. You might want to think about whether you want to do something for Cy Lamberton's family at the same time.
Hmm. Not that I had any ideas. I just thought
Yeah.
that you guys had probably been thinking about.
I hear what you're saying about Cy. My only concern is that we don't typically do it for even very high profile residents. If we didn't do anything for the Fitches, for Stan and Elaine Fitch. So it's, it kind of gets to be, it's like, if you start, where's the cutoff and who do you do it for and not do it for? So just consider that. Eva stands alone. So, I have a couple of suggestions for Eva, if you wanna go on to that. So, I think it would be nice if the select board and the town clerk would like to consider naming something after her. So for example, we're getting a new grader, right? We could name, but I'm even thinking of.
Where's that?
even more greater.
And I'm even thinking of if we want to name the town clerk's office and
Yeah.
her, as a
Mm,
tribute to her. Pardon me?
That's cool.
Yeah, that would kind of be up to the town clerk. But I'm thinking of something, I had told Tegan and Kari that, we could plant a tree in her honor. She was passionate about cats. We could make a donation to the Humane Society for cat rescue or something. It doesn't really support the town of Calais all that much, but we're looking for ideas. So my question to Gus would be, do you want to even ask attendees to town meeting if they have ideas, and if so, email the town clerk's office, or do we not want to open it to that much confusion and chaos? But instead go to them and say, this is what the select board has decided to do.
Do we know anyone who could paint like an orchid and a cat? To have at the town office or the town hall?
Oh, we have so many artists in
But just
town.
like something that very much sums up an orchid, a cat and a typewriter, or something that is like very Eva.
I think that's a great
We can make
idea.
more articles.
Bad idea.
Would we ask a local artist to donate that? Or would the select board give a budget, it's not in the budget, to commission something? I was looking for no cost, low cost things.
Right. Yeah.
But that's a great idea, Tegan. You guys have suggestions?
Oh, I'm not clear on how it relates to town meeting.
Oh, I just brought it up because I thought it might be something to
Well,
do.
I brought it up because when I would, with your frequently, not frequently asked, but questions that might be asked at town meeting.
Yeah.
I mentioned it to Kari, and Jamie and Jordan when we met last week, that some people might ask, because people have been asking us at the
Right.
town office.
Are we doing
What's the
anything?
town gonna do
Okay.
for Eva? And so I wouldn't be surprised if somebody asks, so that's why I brought it up.
Okay.
Because I wanted you guys to be prepared with something instead of just going, oh, we hadn't thought of it.
So maybe we should come back to it and finish with Gus
Okay.
first. I was just trying to answer Gus's question.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could see it being brought up right at the beginning or right at the end of town meeting, whichever
Yeah,
was your preference.
You bringing it up at the beginning shows forethought that you
Mhm.
guys actually thought about. I think that's most respectful.
right, as opposed to waiting for someone to ask
Right,
about
and
it.
being reactive instead.
Yeah. So maybe a few of us should put our heads together and make a proposal.
The other benefit is I'm usually around during the beginning since I kick things off, so I
Right.
could be up there when we talk about it before I go back to the elections.
Is anybody excited about sort of thinking this through more and helping craft a proposal? I can chat and
I bet you Donna Fitch would help you.
oh yeah, we
Something.
talked
I
about
would-
talking to
I've been in
Donna.
constant contact with Donna.
She wrote something very nice. I don't know
She
if you've
did.
seen it.
Yeah, it's in the, yeah.
I guess I would just say, and I don't know who else we lost this year, that there's some virtue, I mean, the years that Si was on the board, he was the guy who made this building warm every year for town meeting.
Mhm.
He served for quite a number of years, so I wouldn't want to go without mentioning him, and I'm happy to mention both of them. I don't know who else has passed this year, but that could be something that we could just do it. I mean, if nobody mentions Stanley and Elaine's passing, shame on all of us. So,
Yeah, makes sense.
I think, yeah, those two would be fine.
Okay, and then we'll have Jamie and Tegan and Barbara work out what
Yeah.
we're gonna do something special.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
okay.
and talk to Donna and,
So one thing that's different this year is we're gonna try to have a true hybrid Zoom option for people. And so we will have a monitor, we will have this owl, so it'll be much like this, except in a much larger room and be probably pretty small, but for those who wanna participate that way, Sarah Black, our web person, will be monitoring the Zoom. And so from time to time, either, I don't know if she'll raise her hand to get attention, or you might call on or ask her if there are any questions or comments
okay.
from
And
online.
is gonna, the goal to have people participate through the chat or actually recognize them and have them talk?
I think chat,
I think chat's probably easier.
yeah, we'll start, let's walk before we run,
Okay, so,
and not voting, right?
Yeah, you can't vote if you're not gonna.
yeah, so if Sarah's sitting up next to me, and she can just let me know. all
Sure,
this stuff
yeah,
on the
just,
chat.
yeah.
great.
In terms of the conduct of the meeting, anything you guys want me to be thinking about? Anything I could have done better?
You're a model moderator,
I want a great
Right.
answer.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I wanna go back to the hybrid meeting thing, cause you were at the training, right, on the moderators?
Oh, yeah,
And they said you can't do hybrid meetings for town meetings?
I guess I missed that part, but even
It's
in
at the
terms
very
of,
end of that handout he gave us, and it was getting long. But I have got it in front of me, and not, so you can have hybrid meetings for an informational meeting, but there's no explicit, right, it's a gray area. There's no explicit statutory authority for remote participation at town meeting like there is for a normal meeting of a municipal body, which is covered by the open meeting law. So I think the VLCT advice is not to do it.
don't do it,
That's my understanding.
Could always ask them.
yeah,
yeah,
why don't I follow up?
Yeah.
okay,
Is it don't do it, or is it don't, simple as you can't vote?
And that's
Right.
what I was wondering.
Yeah, we'll clarify that.
Which I think, I'm sure you can't vote.
Right, you cannot vote. And you can have an informational meeting, and participating in a town meeting is the questionable area.
Right.
So, yeah, let's just get clear. Since we love rules.
I like the idea of allowing chat questions if we're allowed
Yeah.
to. That seems inclusive. Any other?
So I just want to ask a couple of questions. One, has there been a committee that actually reviewed the social service requests this year?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll do my best to help frame that, so we don't have a 45-minute discussion with 15 minutes.
right.
Yeah.
But that's
Would it help to know who was on the committee?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get you that.
so, and I'll say at the beginning, because I assume the people that from the East Montpelier, Woodbury Fire Departments who are gonna
Yeah.
speak are both non-residents, occasionally they're residents.
They're non-resident.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the meeting, I'm just gonna say, without objection, we're gonna hear from two non-residents,
Okay.
because you're actually, under the rules, supposed to ask the body for permission for somebody
Okay,
to speak who's not a resident,
Okay.
so I'll
very good.
do that way. And I'm not sure I've got any other questions for you, other than, I'm sure the first, maybe it's in the town report, but people want to know how much the taxes are going up.
Yeah, that one, there'll be a little bit of a presentation, try to give some high level, you know,
Okay,
and you see my front porch forum post today? That goes
Yeah.
another level,
Mm.
in a little more detail, so hopefully some of that will be vetted before we get there, but inevitably, people want to know the cost of whatever gravel.
Beware of tomatoes.
okay, and the room will get set up the same way it's been the last couple of years.
Unless you have any changes that you would like.
No, just don't do what the school district did by setting themselves up against one wall and having the public against the far wall.
That was awful. Like a football field between.
Out of range.
It was a metaphor for how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the poor tech guy with the owl struggling in the middle to get the sound to work.
Oh,
Like, it
yeah.
was just not.
Mm.
not good.
Yeah.
And then a presentation on the screen that nobody could see.
Or cared about at that time.
So,
And one of you two will connect with Sarah at some point. I was talking to her recently and she wasn't sure about the owl and her
Oh,
role
I'm
and,
gonna set it up the day before, I'll give her,
Okay.
I'll see if she wants to come
okay,
and do the demo with me.
yeah. I
I
think
don't
that-
wanna wait till
Right,
Tuesday. I wanna get it done
exactly,
Monday.
yeah,
No, and we'll be there doing all the setup and everything on Monday.
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
But-
it'd be good just to connect with her on that. I
Yeah,
think she'd
okay.
feel better about it. Else, town meeting?
Oh, the bill, it went to the governor, so
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
good.
page 78 is on its way.
He's expected to sign it.
He is expected to sign that.
That's great.
so I'll hear from one of you about whatever it is you decide you want to do for Eva.
Eva, yeah,
We'll recognize, talk about that.
yep. Great,
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
thank you. Anyone
I think we're done.
have anything else or?
Is that it? Is that our entire agenda?
That was.
I
I'm
think
amazed.
that's- I think we did it all.
The
Record.
new record.
Definitely a new record.
That's something we missed.
I know, right? Okay, motion to adjourn,
Second.
all in favor?
All right. Wow.
Good deal.
I am.
Congratulations.